What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marv, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, oh my goodness. It has been far too long. Okay. Know I've been gone for a minute, but I am back again. Happy New Year to all y'all. Hope your holiday seasons was wonderful. Mine was wonderful for so many reasons. Um, that I will explain at the end of the episode. But one thing for sure, I am happy to be back on your phones, on your screens, on YouTube, doing my thing once again. And one of the things I got to do over the holiday season, outside of playing new games and seeing new movies, seeing family and friends that I love to call family, is I got to watch one last time some Stranger Things, y'all. Oh, makes me want to cry. Makes me want to cry. Uh, I'm doing this as a late video. I know I'm not with all of the clickbait right now, but the reason I'm doing this as a late video is because I want to give my viewers, that's right, you, some time to watch it, get your theories in order, get your facts straight, get all that stuff intact, and then we could come back and chop it up when we need to chop it up. And now is that time. I gave y'all a good week, pretty much, to watch this whole thing, right? Now, I was not one of those people that watched it on New Year's Eve. Not even gonna hold y'all. Your boy Marvelat went out and did hood things, man. I went out and partied with my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it was all about. I went out and partied. I wasn't about all that other stuff. But anyway, when I woke up the next morning, I was hungover trying to watch Stranger Things. I was like, I'm gonna need some time to like understand this again. So I did watch it again because I wasn't in the right state of mind when I was watching it the first time. Um, but shout out to Netflix proving who is loyal in their crew because to put Stranger Things on New Year's Eve at 8 p.m. and to have people either A, go to the movie theater and see it because it was in the movie theaters, or B, watch it at 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. and just finish it right when the ball drops. That's loyalty. That's a different kind of loyalty that your boy Marvlat, I don't have. I do not have that kind of loyalty. But what I will say is, shout out to you if you did that. And shout out to you if you did that without spoiling it for the next person that tried to watch it the next day. With all that being said, here are some of my thoughts about what I saw. Um, Off the top, Stranger Things is going to go down as one of the greatest Netflix series of all time, but it's also going to go down as one of the greatest TV shows of all time. It did a lot of great numbers, but it also told a funny story, a heartwarming story, and a love letter to the 80s all in one shot. Your alien fights, your encounters and your high school tales and your lovable characters, you're passing the torch to the next generation. It did all of the things it could do. It was inspired by all of the different movies of the 80s, like Labyrinth and Freddy Krueger. Um, Throwing a little Star Wars in there if you want to, too. It was inspired by so many different things, and it rolled up into a very nice story that ended pretty all right. Some of the things that I did like, I'm not really going to sit here and try to talk too much about what I saw. I'm not going to sit here and try to give y'all a whole summary. My thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just take away different things that I saw from all 8 episodes. Thankfully, all 8 episodes wasn't as long as I thought it would be. It was really just what, the fourth episode, I think the seventh episode, and the eighth episode. Yeah, those are the ones that took the longest in terms of runtime. First off, I just want to say anybody who sat there and was mad about the scene where, let's just get right to the point. Let's cut right to the chase. Anybody who's mad about the scene where Will came out because they felt like the conversation was awkward or he was dancing around it, I'm not gay. And I don't know what that conversation is like. And I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I know what that conversation is like. And I know that's a touchy subject, so I'm not going to go too crazy. But what I am going to say is if you don't know what that conversation is like, it is not your place to judge that conversation. Let's just be real. Because I don't know what type of awkwardness you're going to get out of a difficult situation like that, where you have to tell your friends and your loved ones about it, because during the 80s, that was a more tough situation to get through than it probably is today. I assume, right? So I'm assuming in 2026 it might be a little more comfortable to have that conversation for a person to have a better understanding and go, oh, I heard you, versus, back in 19, what was it, 87, where a lot of times like people were still frowning upon it and stuff like that. And there wasn't that same inequality that there once was. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, that conversation was awkward. No, it was funny at the end when he was just like, I don't like girls. And then they just kind of looked and they had to do the math. Um, and then for some reason, like Hopper and I think two other people didn't hug him. I think it was like Hopper, Steve, and somebody else. I don't know. It just was kind of a weird situation. That was the only awkward situation. Everybody came over to hug him, and he was like, and it was only like three people that was just like, good for you. Now, I'm not saying that they was discriminatory. I'm just saying that it just was kind of awkward. Like, what was going on there, bro? But be that as it may, it was a conversation that just was like, in order for him to strengthen his mind, he had to get over the blocks of fear that was in his way. And one of those blocks of fear was that he had a secret that nobody knew. And notice we never got to a point where he was saying, yeah, I am gay and I also have a crush on Mike. He just was at a point where he was just like, Mike is one of the people who saw me and probably accepted me, maybe, or when in whatever way he is, or we assume, and that makes him feel happy. He encourages him and empowers him. And we've seen it over the series. Mike has been a very positive motivator when he can be. He's empowered mad people, told him, oh, you're the sorcerer, you're the wanderer, you're this, you're that, right? And he helped make people braver. So he helped Elle feel better about herself. He helped Will feel better about himself. So at the end of the day, it's like that is probably what helped him want to do that. I mean, I'm a guy to watch anime. I've seen this type of scene numerous times, right? Like I've seen, what I'm saying? Like I've seen different anime where somebody's like inspired by someone so much that it powers them up to get to the next level. Whether it's their best friend, somebody, a girlfriend, romantic interest, something of that nature, family member, it just works that way. So I wasn't mad at that scene. A lot of people was dogging that scene. A lot of people was dogging episodes 5, 6, and 7. It was, I think episode 7 was the second lowest rated episode. And it was just like, it wasn't that deep. It was I. The episodes was I at best. Let's let's stop making this a bigger deal than what it needs to be. You feel me? But be that as it may, I felt like maybe the best episode was probably the last episode. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I did like episode 4, but I feel like the best episode 4 was cool because you realize that Will he got brave, he grew a pair, and then he gave Vecna the business. But well, not Vecna, the Demigorgons. But I think episode 8 was probably the best episode because it ended everything, and we got to see 11 do a lot of Attack on Titan type moves and almost Naruto esque moves. So that was my favorite episode. Probably the worst episode. If I had to choose one, I still don't think it's episode 7. Maybe more episode 6. Which episode was it? I think it was episode 6. The one where like Nancy and Will's brother just decide like this, yeah, John just decide this is the right time to like have a conversation where they want to tell each other ba- bas- basically like we should not be in a relationship when they were on the verge of death. This was just like, is this the right time to have this convo? Oh, okay. I mean, it was to help get over the fact that maybe they were about to go out, but that episode probably didn't do it for me that much. But it is what it is. Every episode wasn't that horrible. Um, Also, speaking of Naruto, I know I kind of mentioned it. It had Naruto vibes, right? Like when you think about it, you look at Vecna. Um, Vecna was basically, if you know Naruto, especially the Shippuden works, Vecna was basically Obito, right? And the Mind Flayer was more or less a mixture of Madara and the Ten Tails, right? That's basically kind of what you saw happen. He was just, we thought he was a lost soul. We thought somebody was filling his mind with evil thoughts. And then it empowered a big giant monster that everybody had to try to fight. And then you kind of found out, which was lovely, they tried to use talk no jutsu in this case, right? If you know anime, you know what talk no jutsu is. They tried to talk Vecna out of it. And Vecna was like, nah, Will, this is me. He is I and I is him. I am that dude. I'm all about evil stuff. I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends. And that's what he went and did. He tried to do it and he failed. But it was funny because most of the time when you watch those type of conversations, you see a person just be like, oh, snap, you can change, you could change. And they go, maybe I could change. And then they change. And in this one rare instance, the villain was like, I'm not changing because this is who I want to be. I am proud to be evil. I was all for it. I was like, I need 5 more episodes where Vecna goes off. I don't want it to stop here. But I understood why I had to stop here. And that was funny. Another thing I always see online is a lot of people saying, oh, Vecna, he never messed with Erica. He never messed with Erica because he knew that Erica was that chick. Maybe. But we also got to remember Vecna said it numerous times. He worked on fear. He worked on people's fears. So he grabbed kids whose fear was at an all-time high and he used that to his advantage. That's why he got Mike's sister. That's why he got Delightful Derek, even though I don't think Delightful Derek or Dipshit Derek, I don't think he had fear. I think he just had more insecurities and he probably worked off of that too because his family was a wreck and he was bullying people for no reason. So I think it was a lot more insecurities than fear, but either way, he worked off of that and he worked off of Will. Will was the scapegoat of all of this, right? He not the scapegoat. He was the guinea pig for all of this. So at the end of the day, he worked off of kids who had fear. And Max, he caught Max at a time of fear. That's why when you really look back at it, he ain't get Lucas. He ain't get Dustin. He ain't get Mike. Why? Because Mike is super positive. You ain't messing with Lucas. Lucas is brave. And Dustin is too much of a smarty pants. And smarty pants usually aren't afraid of anything because they always got some plan and figure some things out, right? So when you look at those three, if you put them in a pot, you basically got Erica too. Because Erica was with the shits and she wasn't scared and she was super smart. So at the end of the day, he wasn't gonna go for Erica. He knew better. Probably could have, but he wasn't because she was like that. She was built like that. So at the end of the day, that's what happened. Erica should probably went to jail at the end of this series because she drugged and helped kidnap a family. But that's another story, right? Other funny things that I wanted to just point out that I see nobody points out. So this is where I want to point it out. A lot of people always get on Lucas because his haircut got crazy between seasons, 4 and 5. I mean, let's be real, ladies and gentlemen. It's Hawkins. My man got the kid and play hairstyle, aka the flat top, during like the small boom period of Kid and Play. Because I think they was on the come up right before House Party 1 or around that time, something like that. So, I mean, it's kind of hard. I don't know if he got black barbers out there, but if he did, I don't know if he got any bruhs. So, you gotta do the best you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Um, Shout out to Holly also. She my new favorite wheeler of the three because I ain't gonna hold you. It was Nancy, Mike, then the moms, then the Holly, then the pops. Now it's more Nancy, Holly, Mike. No, Nancy, Holly, moms, Mike, pops. And I'm gonna tell you why. Nancy, we already know. Nancy's nasty with the blicky. She come through with the burner. She know what she doing. Her aim all of a sudden got even better. She one of the sharpest shooters in the game. She out here on the move, right? The moms also was with the shits. Moms was stabbing Demigorgons with champagne bottles. She wasn't caring what she was doing. She threw a whole canister of what was that, nitrogen or whatever, into the laundry, the dryer, blew up a bunch of Demigorgon dogs. Like she was with it. She was always ready to go down, right? But Holly did something that both of them couldn't do. Well, the moms did, and that's probably where she got it. She got it from her mama. Holly, if y'all don't remember this, it's a quick moment, but how you think Vecna got Holly to participate in the little ritual summoning he was doing? Because she tried to escape all the kids because all the kids were on Vecna's side and not hers, right? And she thought Derek was on her side and he wasn't. He flipped real quick. And Shorty looked around like a real, like if you in the hood and you see you about to get jumped, you gotta find your way out of that butt whipping, right? She looked around for 2 seconds. She said, "Hey yo, I ain't gonna hold you. took the boombox, smacked a couple kids with it, tried to boogie. Right when she tried to boogie, those kids, everyone except Derek, jumped her. They beat her up. They threw her down a flight of steps. And for some weird reason, they snatched her chain. She had a chain. They ain't know nothing about her chain. They snatched Shorty's chain, threw her down a flight of steps. That is some hood stuff right there. That is something that happens in the projects. That is some real hood stuff. All they needed was kids with Tim's on. She would have had the full hood beatdown experience. So Holly got beat down and still survived. Just probably had a concussion. She was knocked out. Um, but hey, you know what they say in the hood? You take a beat down, you tough. You tough, homie. So shout out to her. And this is what we do on Nerds in the Hood. We got to point out that hood stuff. We got to give people their flowers when they deserve it. Holly took a beat down in the spiritual world or whatever and kept it moving. Um, yo, and I do want to give again. It's just there's things again that I can laugh at and say this is too funny. But I'm not gonna go that hard. You know, again, like the fact that your man Mike Wheeler, which again, this is why he went down in my ranking of the family. Hey, yo, your man's right. Dustin had the dope graduation speech, right? Everybody was with it. It was a graduation speech inspired by Eddie because that's what Eddie said he was going to do when he graduated. So he took some of that and ran with it on the stage, right? And it was a great speech. One of the popular chicks in the high school came up to him and was like, yo, that was a dope speech. He was like, word, you liked it? Yeah, yeah, I bet. I'm glad you liked it, right? Shorty was like, yo, you know what? And she had all her homegirls in the background looking at the crew and said, yo, we having a party tonight. If y'all want to come through. He was like, word, that's an invite. She was like, yeah, pull up. He was like, yeah, yeah, we gonna pull up. And they all hyped, like, oh, snap, we gonna pull up. It's about to be crazy. Now, granted, I know what y'all thinking, and let's just clear this up, right? It's high school. They Most of them people know that Lucas is with Max, but them girls don't care about Max. So they cool if Lucas pull up. And most of them girls don't even know Will is gay. He only told his close friends and family. So at this point, they just see four dudes and they like, yo, pull up to the party. Let's get it cracking. And everybody's in there hype, like, oh, snap, son. Now, from what we know, Dustin did have a girlfriend from like a sleepaway camp or whatever, but she ain't around. She already ain't around. So it's fair game. So, and 11 is supposedly passed on at this point. So Mike and Dustin was single, just saying. And your man Mike looks at them and he's like, y'all want to do that? They like, yeah, let's do that, bro. We finally with the cool kids. He's like, yo, hold on. I got a better idea. What's the better idea, you ask? Did he throw a party at his crib? No. Did he go out somewhere else with his friends? Maybe like drink a beer, like young kids do when they turn into adults? No. No, ladies and gentlemen, this man invited all of his friends back to do what they've been doing since they was kids, and that's play a simple, peaceful game of Dungeons and Dragons, aka D&D, because now they could play it without having to worry about no Vecna, no Demigorgons, no army, nothing. That was cock blocking 101, first off. Second off, your fam, y'all finally got invited to the cool kids table and you turned down the invitation. That is a true 80s movie move. But also, come on, fam. I would have been at that party crazy. If Mike told me, yo, Marv, we about to go play Dungeons and Dragons at the crib one last time, I'd be like, yeah, we could do that tomorrow. Tonight, let's go to this party. You wildin', bro. We could have went home another day and played Dungeons and Dragons. And you could have told me the same story about 11 probably still being alive. I would have listened. But tonight, let's go to that party. We don't get invited by these girls often. This is our one chance. Once they go to college, that's it. Your man was killing me. I say, yo, Mike, bro, you killed me. The Wheeler family chain, you went down. You almost near the Pops level. And shout out to the Pops making a full recovery because your man got hurt like the first episode of the last season. We ain't see that man ever since. We saw the mom in the hospital. Mom got out of the hospital bed, fought the Demigorgon dogs, came and helped the kids, everything, right? The dad, he just chilled in the bed. I think my son was like, yo, I seen what that thing is. I'm good, bro. He folded to the fourth power and he never came back until the graduation a year later. He was like, yo, all that shit squash? Squash? All right, get me up out the bed. Shout out to my son. And I'm sure he got a free hospital bed because they was like, yo, bro, like it's the end of the world, like whatever. So he never came back to the end. At the end, he came back. I'm like, what? Where was he this whole time? He tried to fight him with a golf club, got packed up. My son said, you know what? I'm not about that life, bro. I'm not built like that. Leave me in this hospital bed, bro. Left him there. Ain't nobody come visit him. We ain't never seen this man for 7 whole episodes, and he just came back all gravy, 100% healed. Fuck out of here. So I did like that. The end with all of the young adults, John and Nancy and Steve and Robin, that part was so close to home. It was real because that's a part when you're like, y'all older and everybody's trying to get their life together, and you're like, yo, let's go, let's just hang out like once a month or whatever. Let's do that. Yeah. And when you're an adult, it's easier to say it than to execute it, because at some point you're gonna be like, hey yo, fam, I ain't gonna hold you. I can't do it this month. And then that snowballs into like, I haven't seen you in a year. So that part was tough because it was like, I think they knew when they were looking at each other, but they, in the moment, they were just hype. Um, I don't know much about what the spinoff with Nancy's supposed to be, but if she not busting guns in the spinoff, I'm not watching. If it's just her like doing undercover sleuthing and all of that, I'm not watching that. I need the same Nancy that I saw in Stranger Things that was busting out the shotties and hitting people with point blank accuracy. I need that Nancy. If I'm just getting a Nancy that's like following people, but she don't got no burners and she knows she can't fight, you can miss me with that. I'm not watching that show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not watching that. There's more than enough shows that are similar to that type of show, so I wouldn't watch that. About this new spinoff, though, that's apparently supposed to happen. It's supposed to talk about what Vecna saw that day when he got the rock absorbed into his hands, which also they stole that from Media Man. But when he got the rock and it absorbed into his hands and he got the power of the Mind Flayer, I do wonder what that's going to be about. Is it going to be like a time skip forward to the 90s or the 2000s, or is it going to be like a time skip backwards and we go back to like when, which is interesting because in his class, he's in the same class as like Nancy, not Nancy, I'm sorry, I keep saying Nancy, right? No, isn't it Nancy? You know what I mean. Will's mom. Will's mom. They're going back to Will's mom and Hopper all being in the same class, and Mike's parents in the same class. Lucas' parents, for some weird reason, are not there. But anyway, they all in the same class. So I do want to see where that goes. Like, what time period are they going to? Because that's the only Stranger Things we're going to get. And of course, if you do care about Broadway, you can see the Stranger Things play, which is a prequel about Vecna's past. So that will not just about Victor's past, it was also about Will's mom and Hopper and all of them when they were younger. So it's more of if Stranger Things is Naruto going into Shippuden, this play would be more like the Naruto where Orochimaru and Jiraiya and them were like younger. It's just a prequel. I know I'm going too in depth Naruto, but it does have a lot of Naruto vibes on the low. So I did enjoy this show. There's a lot I can make fun of it. There's a lot I could really talk about. But I did want to point out those things because I just felt like people all online just talking about the scenes that they like, and I'm like, nah, let's have fun with it one time. That's how I show my love. I have fun with it, and, you know, point out the funny stuff. For example, another one example before I finish up the video is a lot of people are online being like, "Yo, what happened after what happened after Elle like went away and they thought she died? Like, what happened?" And I'm like, what do you think? Everybody just went back to living their life, and people are confused because like it's just a time skip and people went back to living their life. But why is that funny, you ask? I'm gonna tell you why that's funny. It's funny because this is what happens in movies when you see if the army's chasing something and that thing goes away or it passes away, then the army doesn't need the people that they're holding captive anymore because there's nothing that's gonna bring that person back that they can do about it. They don't know that Will got powers. They don't know that Max can do the things she can do. They don't know that of anything, right? So once they saw Elle get taken in by the Upside Down, they just kind of figure like, all right, if Elle's gone and her sister's gone, we don't need these people. Holding these people hostage does nothing. It's not going to bring her back. So they just carried on like, yo, y'all can go. We out of here. They packed up their stuff and they moved on. Elle had to move away. She had to move away. People do not understand that she needed to fake her death and she had to move away. Did she need to fake her death? Not so much, but she had to move away. If she stayed around, they wouldn't be able to move on with their lives because they will always feel. I mean, it's a bit of an argument with that one because I feel like she could have stayed there and she could have kept living her life. But that is why they had to keep the army as a secondary villain because the military would have kept chasing her because they would have known that she still has the power to do things. So they would have kept chasing her and chasing her and chasing her until they caught her. So she would have either been endangering everybody in Hawkins because they would have stayed in Hawkins and kept looking for her, or she had to move away. And that is essentially why she did fake her death. I know she didn't have to, but she did because now they looked at it and said 11 is never coming back and they're not going to chase her. So she went to some other part of the world, it looked like. Don't even know how she got there, but she went to some other part of the world and now is living there under probably a new alias. And that's fine. Apparently, the Duffer brothers only told her and her alone. So she was the only one who knew of the ending at the time. So that's fine. And that explains why she didn't go to the final premiere with the rest of her friends because she probably would have sat there being like, ooh, I know what's about to happen, but I'm okay with that. I'm not beefing that. That it was a good ending. Especially the passing of the torch at the end when like he went upstairs, when Mike went upstairs and stopped playing D&D and they showed everybody just moving on with their lives and they realized that this next group of people with Derek and Holly and all of that are now it's now their turn. And I like that because at the end of the day, this is what the spinoff could be. It could be about them passing the torch and just being the new generation of kids. Or it could just be saying that this is just their time. But I just felt like we invested a lot into these kids, so it might as well be them. But then it's like, what else could they do if Vecna's apparently gone, right? Maybe they can still mess with the Mind Flayer, but then the Mind Flayer has to be resurrected in some way. So um, I like the way it ended. Again, it's gonna go down as one of the greatest TV shows of all time, but also one of the greatest Netflix shows of all time. Are these kids better than the Welcome to Derry kids? Arguably not. But it still was fun. It was still an experience that took 10 years. I wish it could have told a longer story, but again, these kids are older now. Like we could all buy them a shot at the bar if we wanted to. So um kudos to them. Kudos to Netflix. Uh, never got to say this on the show, but Stranger Things as a whole, seasons 1 through 5, the vibe check on it is valid. That's it. I'm gonna miss the theme song. I'm gonna miss everything about it. But if they do bring a spinoff, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna talk about it again right here on Nerds in the Hood. So I just wanted to take some time to just explain my thoughts about what I thought about Stranger Things. If you want to write in the comments and share some of your theories, thoughts, favorite scenes, funny scenes that I might not have brought up, even scenes that you thought was whack, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's do it to it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, want to wish y'all all happy new year. Follow me on all social media. I'm getting more content up. Check out my Spotify show, Nerds in the Hood. We have Nerds in the Hood on Spotify. It is totally different from what you see on YouTube for now. It is starring two special guest correspondents, my guy Keyshawn and my guy Kenley. Two good dudes, two good brothers of mine I've seen grow up. They're good dudes, and I want you to listen to their thoughts on different things involving anime, video games, and so much more. So listen to them. We got the first episode out on all streaming platforms right now: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you listening to. Well, I guess it's YouTube now podcast, but all podcast streaming services. You can listen to it, check it out when you get a chance. We got another episode coming up in about a week or so be on the lookout for that. But if you follow on all social media, you'll get the updates you need. Until then, it's your boy Marv Lat signing out, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace. No, wait. Am I doing the forces at 11? At 8? You know what I meant to do. Peace out, people. Peace.